Hello. This video I'd like to make a couple points about absurdity and how our nature has become absurd to us now in modern society. So, what absurdity is it is the sensation of consciousness of the semanticization of the physical realm, or the daily minutia of that physical realm. Now, how this sensation occurs is that we are no longer able to see this minutia reflected in the wider plan of things. We are no longer able to identify the microcosm as a necessary result of the macrocosm. We are no longer able to see concepts such as eternity or recurrence in our daily lives. That's what leads to absurdity. Now, the most obvious and clear example of how you can experience absurdity is if you isolate a concept from all of the other concepts it could be connected to, so from everything else. The easiest way to do this is by repeating a phrase again and again and again, or just focusing on a single object like a chair or something benign like that, and focusing on it until you can't think of anything else related to the chair. And the chair on its own, of course, is absurd, because without a person to sit in it, without the trees and where the wood comes, without the floor on which it's placed, it's a funny shape. It doesn't have much purpose. It doesn't make sense where it would come from or where it would go. And so an object like that can be semanticized and thought of as absurd. So, if you look at many things, for example, our traditions, or even the natural environment itself, it's become absurd to us, because we've removed ourselves from those concepts. Concepts such as wildlife, such as oneliness with nature, concepts such as struggle, natural struggle. We've removed ourselves from that. And so these concepts are absurd. When we come into contact with them, on rare occasions, when you find yourself in the wilderness, or if you see a wild animal roaming through the streets, a fox or a hedgehog or something like that, it's absurd to you, because you can't place it in its context. It doesn't make sense. You see a fox looking through rubbish bins. Rubbish bins are for hobos, you know? I've never seen a fox looking through rubbish bins, and you see one. You know, it doesn't make sense to you. It's because the concept is semanticized. It's been removed from it's reflected in the macrocosm. And how this happens is that we've built our cities, and we've built this modern world. And what we've actually done is we've superficially replaced a natural order, which gave us our strengths and our virtues, and which gave us laws. And we've replaced that with our own artificial laws and virtues. And this has resulted in a truncation of the natural plane from, let's say, the man-made of the artificial one, which you've put in its stead. So, there are a number of consequences of this. And the consequences are on a human level. When we see our natural environment as absurd, and that which is right and good for us in our being, as per evolution, as nonsensical, then we are very easy to shun these beliefs and these traditions, and replace them with anything relating to the supernormal rather than the normal, right? And that's going to be something I'll make another video on in the future, maybe my next one. But we've replaced those concepts with new ones. It's perfectly natural to look at a hobo looking through the rubbish bins, homeless people sleeping on the streets, people in tracksuits and hoodies doing drugs, old people in cafes. It's very easy to think of, school children walking about and a church bell ringing and whatever else you'd find in an ordinary town in Europe. So we come into contact with those things so much that they become desemanticized. What would have been absurd 100 years ago is now completely normal now. And it leads people to have beliefs which would include anti-traditionalism, which would include the shunning of traditions. It's very easy for people to distance themselves from animals and from nature. We see this all the time. Even if you look at a liberal who prides themselves on being green and being pro-nature, you analyze their morality. They might not eat meat because it feels icky to them, but ultimately they really don't even know themselves the true horrors of factory farms. They don't even know what, they can buy paper instead of plastic, but that's going to do fuck all in the end. It's just going to satisfy their own, gluttonous morality. It's not going to actually do anything. And if these people were faced with the option of making a sort of a sacrifice in favor of their beliefs, you'd find how shallow those beliefs really are and what purpose their morality really serves. And that's all because they are so far removed from their nature. The concepts of struggle, of the eternal struggle, are antithetical to modern man. It's easy to create an artificial struggle. For example, if you go to the gym, or if you want to study a certain topic or something like that, you can create artificial struggle. Struggle at work or in university. But natural struggle, the kind which is most valuable to our spirits, is something horrendous to us now. Or, I'm not speaking for myself, I mean to modern man. And so he becomes offended by these things. He becomes afraid, and he rejects them instinctively. See, the dilemma we're faced with is we've built a conscientious world where we've become oversensitive to the physical realm. And this oversensitization to physicality has resulted in ourselves being abstractified from that which is closest linked to eternal concepts. That's just a couple of points I wanted to say about it. Pretty rushed. I guess I could have done it better, but thanks for listening.